So we're just going to give everyone a couple minutes. Imagine there's probably going to be a couple stragglers kind of joining us in a moment. So if we're doing anything today and you have any questions, throw a question in the comment section and I'll answer as quick as I can. Internet is working today. It was a little spotty earlier, so if it cuts out, it'll click back in less than a minute. Just stay on the stream. Let me know. In the last class, I had to restart the stream. The picture frozen for a little while. So again, if the picture's frozen, I probably won't know it. Please leave a comment, and I will just restart the stream for everyone. I actually want to take it back a little bit, and today I want to go over some simple, kind of straightforward basics. I really want to go over the Mwashiki and the Kaki, so the circle block and the hook block. I'm going to keep it pretty simple because I want to go over some extra details of those two moves. I want to explain a couple things with them. And then the last class we talked about, oh gosh, what did we talk about? Right. We talked about the Taikyo Fukatas, what it means, pattern about them. So if you do want to review that, you can check out the last couple classes, and you can skip ahead to the end, writing on the whiteboard, going over details. But for everyone else, I want to go over everyone's going to need for their junior black belt. Haven't really outlined it, and I started outlining it with people this week. So I just want to have it outlined here so everyone knows exactly what they're going to need to kind of prepare for a black or junior black belt. That way, even if someone's at a blue belt or, I don't think I have any brown belts to the black stripe, it's just easier to kind of know as you're training what to practice, what to get ready, and so forth, etc. So let's warm up. Let's go over those two blocks, and then we're going to talk for a while about the junior black belt grading, and then there should be some time at the end for you to practice a few katas on your own. I know this week with the senior belt classes, we went over, a couple katas. It's a little different class to class. I know the brown belt, some of them we got to go over the sai kata. We did, I think, we did bow kata with a couple people. We worked on seiyunshin as well. So for today, I just want to go over what we're going to need for junior black belt grading, and I want to go over those two blocks, the Mwashiki and the Kaki. Really nail down some important kind of fine details for them. But for now, let's bow in. Oh, and before I forget, just so everyone knows, next weekend is Labor Day weekend, and the dojo will be closed for Labor Day weekend. We're going to be closed on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So there won't be any senior belt classes not this fall. I think it's the 7th of September. The 7th, the 8th, whatever that Monday is. There won't be classes that day. And we're not going to do digital classes next week either. So please just keep that in mind. If you're waiting for a class to come on the stream, it won't happen. Just so you know. Okay. All right. Keep together. That's it. Great. All right. Let's go. There we go. And let's go left, middle, right. And again. All right, hands up. Watch. H, knee, time, G, go, look, teach, action, and G. Good, hands are up, perfect. And cross the left. Switch good. Oh, push to the left. And right. Push forward, back. Oh, woo. All right, you work. And arms on the knees, push them over. Forward hang. All right, let's work on those as far as we can. And let's drop our elbows down. Low as we can. The floor, awesome. All right, let's have feet together. Grab our toes, bring them close to our body. And first, deep breath in, deep breath in. Good, let's cross legs. Go left hand on the right knee, right hand behind the body. Deep breath. Forward, chin up, and across. Switch, and deep breath. Forwards, up, and across. Now knees, deep breath in. All right, legs straight out in front of us, feet together. And deep breath in. And forward for those toes. Let's try that first. All right, now. Oh, all right. Right toe. Left toe's up. Right toe forward. Left toe. Take your chin. Down. And left. Right. And take our shoulders, bring them up. All right, push the left hand back. And in, and right hand back. And out. In, and back. Good. The other teeth. Right. Us. Okay. Camera. Computer. Uh-oh. Comes right stuff. And get a little close. Okay. All right, cool. Better roll on the board. I'm gonna think of that thing I dropped. So let's go over again the Kakyuki and the Mawashi. I'm going to be able to do a little bit more detailed stuff with UC guns. A couple key things to keep in mind with the Mawashi Kakyuki. As much as it looks, especially the Mawashi, a little weird. Have you ever heard people say it looks like the motions in it are very important. So you're going to see a lot of these circular motions, especially in a lot of different martial arts. You're also going to see this idea of deflecting and pulling to get someone to continue on a path, just not towards you. You're going to see that a lot as well. These are two big concepts that get repeated a bunch in a bunch of different ways, all across a whole bunch of different martial arts. So that's one of the reasons these blocks are so important. My favorite one is the Kakyuki. It's simple, it's quick, and it's actually pretty effective. You want to make sure that if someone's punching you, you don't push their hand where their thumb is. Okay? Main reason is when I punch, if someone pushes my thumb, okay, well, I can still punch with my other hand. But if someone pushes my hand where my pinky finger is, well, now it covers me. I can still punch, but it's harder. I have to turn towards the person, bring my hand back. The idea with Kakyuki is not to pull the person and trip them all the way. The main use is just to make the person do this. It's a little bit off balance. That's all you're trying to do. Because generally, it's going to happen pretty fast. Normally, when someone's punching, they're not going to go, "Ah!" and hold their arm out there. Generally, they're going to hit and pull their hand back. You got to make sure that timing on that block is really well done. If you block when the person is pulling your hand back, too late. So you got to make sure it's right when the person's just about finished their punch, boom, and you deflect them away from you and you expose their back. Or you can even just use that push as a little quick deflection. So if someone's punching, boom, you can just use that push to just push their head away, boom, the person misses. I would say that deflection, that push at the beginning of the block is the most important part. Here's why. If you do the deflection properly, but you don't grab the person, well, they still missed you because you deflected their punch away. But if you miss the deflection and then try and grab the person, they've already hit you. So that first deflection is the most important. This is a basic detail, but it's really important. So let's say this is someone's arm and they're punching me right in the chest. When I do my deflection, I've got to make sure I don't just hit the hand. Because look, I still get hit. I have to go to the edge of the body. So if the person keeps going, they miss and go past it. Very, very important. Sometimes, in fact, a lot of the time when people do this block, they leave their hand right in the middle. What's the point? Second thing, people do this block a lot of the time, watch close, they grab with their thumb. And I know I'm grabbing a stick when I'm showing stuff, that's going to fall if I don't. You do not want to grab. Here's why. When you deflect, your hand slides, okay, or if it goes down, it might hurt your wrist a bit. But if your thumb is open and the person moves, you'll hurt your thumb and your wrist. So you really want to make sure your palm is flat and that it's a flat-handed push. So, make sure, a couple other details. When you grab, don't grab super close like this. Grab out in front. Make sure you come up under your other arm, grab in front, and don't do a big pull. It's just a wee little pull. That's it. So let's try that. We're going to start by going a little slower. And then we're going to do 10 more, and we're going to go faster. Talk about that. 10 easy, kind of medium speed ones. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10. Okay, now let's do it a little faster. Kids know this. Well, the key thing for this is we're not gonna do the hard push, pause, and then grab. As we're doing the push, we're gonna start the grab. The idea is if you push and then you start the grab after, the person can already pull their hand back, or they can try and punch you again. So you want to make sure instead of going wait and then grab, go all in motion. As this one's almost finished, the grab is starting. It's going to look more like this. We're going to start a little slower, and we're going to speed up as we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Check out here. Okay. Watch you circle block. Now this is the one that a lot of people say, this is dumb, this is weird, I don't get it, it's dumb, you're never gonna do it. Not true. It's not dumb, it is weird, and you're probably not gonna do this exact thing, all the parts of it. But you're definitely gonna use a lot of different parts of it at different times. So I have a lot of examples I use from other martial arts. In Kung Fu, they do big circular motions where they deflect and pull something away with one hand as they strike. You're going to see in Judo, where they use the uniform and they grab people for throws. You're going to see sometimes people grab a collar and they grab a belt or a hip, and to throw the person, they get underneath them. Watch what they do. Big circle with their hands for that hip throw. Another one is in Jiu-Jitsu, all these different moves called passes, where you pass through or around someone's guard. That way they're kind of vulnerable. And there's one called a Toriondo pass, where when someone's on the ground, you grab their legs, and with straight arms, you twist a circle. Kind of like you're tying up your arms. What happens when you do that to the person is when they're on the ground, they twist. Their side becomes exposed. And because you're holding their legs, they can't lift their legs to cover themselves. So you can slide into their side position, in their guard, where they're vulnerable. So you do see this circle motion a lot in different martial arts. The fact that you have to use both hands together in this circle is really, really important. Keep that in mind. We're going to add some. We're just going to do this really quick. We know the top hand has to be flat, about the same distance as the middle block with a flat palm. We know the bottom hand has to be pretty close to the body, nice and flat. And we want to make sure this top hand goes down first. They both go around the circle at the same time on the hip and the shoulder, and then we push. A couple of mistakes I see a lot of people make with it. First one, when they do the circle, they do this. Straight arm, so far away. You actually don't want to go higher than the head or lower than the thigh. Cool. And as the hands come around, you don't keep them far away from you like this. You actually pull your elbows back and point them behind you. So what happens is, basically after you pass your belt and start to pass your head, when you pull your elbow, it keeps your circle tight. You kind of see it starts big and it gets smaller as it goes around that circle. Actually, spiral shape. It's true. We're going to start with the stand up, stand down. And again, this top hand, the palm faces down when it starts. And as it goes between this arm and your body, it's going to turn up. Then the palms face out. Okay? A lot of people just do this. They leave their palms still until the end and turn. But again, it turns down, turns up. So there's that distinct rotation in the wrist and the arm. So Like I already said, we pull the elbows back as we do it. We don't go way up above the head, way down lower, way wide. Keep the circle kind of more as a spiral. Pretty. This hand doesn't want to be on the side of the shoulder, in front of the shoulder and the arm. This one right on the head. This bottom hand basically faces out as soon as it starts to move. Last thing, big detail that a lot of people kind of, I'm not going to say do wrong, but they interpret it in different ways and they kind of don't tighten up enough. This. You start with this hand on top, circle. When they push their arms straight out, or they push them together, or they go super wide. When you do the push, start from your belt and your shoulder, and the push goes towards the middle this way. Then it expands and goes up and down. So from here in, expand. Second mistake, a lot of people think the arms go all the way up like this. In actuality, when you do the push, in and the elbows stay connected to the body. So you're not going full extension. One of the reasons is your arms are out here and someone grabs you, they can pull your arm, twist you, throw you around, they can hit you. So you want to make sure those elbows don't go super far from your body. Let's do 10 of these, emphasizing pulling our elbows, rotation of the palm, as well as motion of our push. Not going to do these ones super fast. We're going to focus on the details. 10 of them, and don't forget, in breath on the circle, and nice, sturdy, slow, hard breath out. Push. Ready? Okay, here we go. 1. Other hand. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. And last one. 10. Whoa, big up. Practicing blocks, really important, not just for Goju, our style of karate, for a lot of different martial arts. A lot of different variations of movements. And you can use a lot of those motions, those movements, and those concepts in a lot of different ways. All right. Okay. So let's start outlining stuff. We're going to go over katas. Mine from junior black belt. All right. So definitely integrating connected. Katas. We're going to have to talk about this next one. I don't know how we're going to do it yet, but we're going to have to do something far in. Now, there's a couple things. For sparring, we have to be careful. And right now, we're not going to be doing any sparring for a little while. For obvious reasons, we want to make sure to keep our distance, keep safe, etc., etc. I like sparring. One of my favorite things to do in martial arts. I love me some good fighting, and everyone kind of works together to get stronger. So, if you black belt grading while the pandemic is happening, we're going to have to replace the sparring. Hopefully, maybe some bag work. Maybe we can do some movement and combination. So that's probably what we're going to kind of change that with if we for the basics. Basics are not going to be a pass or fail. They're kind of there to warm you up, and I like to call them basics. I like to call them pretty fast and get them a lot of different basics happening. To kind of see if you can keep your focus. I want to see the moves you know. I want to see the turns you know, and see what happens when I say something that you don't know. This is more of kind of like warm up for the grading. Probably also there to kind of like shake you up a little bit. Now, one of the things that will probably be in every grade, and that's going to be surprises. What do I mean by surprises? Well, I can't tell you. That's the whole point of surprise. You're not supposed to do that. Now, for katas, the way it's going to work, we're going to break it down a little bit too, because it's not just going to be katas. What katas you need to do one Goku kata. There's 5 different types of katas. You have to do one kick side kata. Kick side or kick side. First time. It's important for our salad, right? Pretty old. Go got to one of them. Like some people like it. We'll also have to choose at least one of these. Saifa or you get to pick which one. Some people like Saifa, some people like Sage. But those 2 katas are very important. They're very traditional, our style of karate as well. So I have to see at least one of those katas here. Yeah. So, after you what do I mean by that? I specifically have to do 2 different katas, or sorry, at least one kata with one weapon and another kata with a different. You can do one sai kata and a brown black stripe, Sanfa kata, so you can do a sai kata, Sanfa kata, or you can do a bow kata and a sai kata, or a bow kata and a Sanfa kata. But you can't just do 2 bow katas. You have to pick which, or you have to pick 2 different weapons and do one kata of each. Okay? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 katas. Now, here's the rest. Whatever 3 katas you do. Now, for your 3 katas, you can pick extra Taikyoku katas, extra kick-side katas. You can do the other one of this. Or stage. You can do extra weapons katas. You can do a foreign kata or 2. Whoa, don't fall over, Sensei. It's your call. I would not recommend doing your 3 choice katas as all Taikyoku katas. Can if you really want to, but here's the deal. If you pick all the beginner katas to do, I'm going to expect those katas to be pretty much perfect. Each one of those only has one kind of hit, one kind of block. So I expect all of those to be pretty much picture perfect and consistent throughout the whole kata. Plus, since they're beginner katas, they're the katas you've known the longest. So I also expect them to be of a higher quality than the other katas. That's the way it is. That's not saying if you choose Nihonchi that I'm going to let you off easy. I'm still going to make sure you're doing it correctly. But I'm going to expect even more from those beginner katas for the reasons I've already said. Keep in mind, 8 katas. Does that mean I can't ask you if you know another kata? No, I absolutely can ask you. For sure. Because I'm mean. Kind of a jerk. But just keep that in mind. You get to choose the last 3, whatever ones you want. 1 Taikyoku, 1 Gikisai. Saifa or Seinshin, 2 weapons, and then 3 other katas, your choice. Foreign katas, goju katas, whatever. The other things for the grading is there's 3 rules for a regular black belt grading. And I'm going to keep these 3 rules for the junior black belt grading as well. 3 rules are, first, you can't stop in a kata. What do I mean by that? I don't mean, okay, if you pause for a second, and then keep going, that's a pause. What I mean by you can't stop in a kata is you can't stop for like half a minute and then keep going. And you can't stop and then start the kata again. Every time you do a kata, it's a fight. In a fight, if you take a break, you're just going to get beaten up. You have to keep fighting. Same thing, if you're in a fight and you get punched in the face, you can't tell the person, let's do it again. I want to get that block proper. You got to deal with it. You're in your kata and you make a mistake or you forget your move, you have to keep going no matter what. The worst thing that happens in a grading, if you make a mistake, is I'm going to get you to do the kata again. That's it. Maybe I'll make you do it a couple more times, but that's going to be the extent of it. But you can't stop in the kata. 2, second rule. If you're in a weapons kata, you can't stop, but also cannot drop your weapon. You drop your weapon, especially if you're fighting someone who also has a weapon, that's bad news. That's dangerous. That's how people get hurt. Got to keep your weapon so you can defend yourself. You can't stop in a kata. You can't drop a weapon. No exceptions. I haven't had to fail anyone for those 2 things. Not in this dojo, but I've seen my sensei have to fail people going for black belt before because of it. So keep that in mind. The 3rd rule, which may or may not apply depending on if we're allowed to spar. That, of course, is going to be if you draw blood, because maybe you slipped and your punch missed and you punched someone in the nose, you have a bloody nose, you fail. The reason for that is you have to show control of your actions. I know no one in the dojo is going to intentionally haul off and punch someone right in the face, give them a bloody lip or hurt their nose or anything like that. But I do know that people in general make mistakes. There's lots of accidents. So part of the point of that rule is to make sure that you're in control of your actions while you're in your grading. Being mindful of the other person. As much as you're working hard, you're punching the other person, they're punching you. You have to make sure that it's in control, that you're not doing anything you don't need to. Especially when you're fighting. It's very important. Fights can get very chaotic, very crazy, very fast. So you always want to make sure that you're in control of your actions. Now, here's the thing about these 8 katas. If you do them proper, you won't have to repeat them. So that means the more you practice ahead of the grading, smoother your grading is and the less work you're going to have to do, at least at the grade. It's kind of like a test at school. You do a written test at school. As long as you know a good way for you to practice, the more you practice and study for that test, the more correct answers you're going to get, the less likely it is you're going to have to repeat that test. But if you don't study at all and you just kind of try and remember stuff from class and you haven't, probably not going to get a good score. You might have to do that test again. It's going to take more work and it's going to take longer. It's the same kind of idea with the grading. The harder you practice to get ready for that grading, the less likely it is you're going to have to repeat a kata. And even though there's only 8 katas you got to do, if you have to repeat all those katas 3, 4 times, that 8 katas quickly becomes 16, 24, 32 katas. Keep that in mind. You're going to have to do these 8 katas, basics, some kind of sparring. At the grading, also remember, no stopping in a kata, no dropping a weapon, no drawing blood. Big 3 rules, very important. All right, I think that's going to be it for today. Got a couple minutes at home. Pick a couple katas, maybe even you can pick 8 katas. Pretend like you're getting ready for your junior black belt. Let's bow, let's say goodbye. All right, everyone, together. Let's keep. Show me. Thanks. Keep it. Thank you. All right, everyone. Have a great day.